Welcome to the Madison Miller Podcast. Today is Thursday, December 31st, 2020. Big show today. Recapping the NBA from last night and looking ahead to today and the weekend's games. Same for college basketball and college football with the Bulls. Then we'll pick the NFL Week 17 games and do my Fab Five for the NFL and my best bet of the day. All right, first we'll do NBA, as we will go over the results from last night and look ahead to the games from today all the way to Sunday. Celtics over the Grizzlies, 126-107. The Celtics are 3-2. Memphis is 1-3. Jaylen Brown had 42 points and 4 assists. Jonas Valanciunas had 20 with 11 boards. Nets over the Hawks, 145-141. The Nets are 3-2. The Hawks are 3-1. Kevin Durant had 33 points and 8 assists. John Collins had 30 to lead the way for Atlanta. Heat over the Bucks, 119-108. The Heat are 2-2. The Bucks are 2-3. Goran Dragic had 26 to lead the way for the Heat. And Giannis Antetokounmpo, 26, 13, and 10. So a triple-double for Giannis. Hornets over the Mavericks, 118-99. The Hornets are 2-2. The Mavs are 1-3. LaMelo Ball had 22 points to lead the way for Charlotte with long with 5 assists. Tim Hardaway Jr. had 18 to lead Dallas. Lakers over the Spurs, 121-107. The Lakers are 3-2. The Spurs are 2-2. LeBron had 26 and 8 assists. DeJounte Murray, 29 points, 7 assists, and 7 rebounds. Clippers over the Trailblazers, 128-105. The Clippers are 4-1. The Blazers are 2-2. Kawhi Leonard played. He had 28 points and 7 assists. CJ McCollum had 25 to lead the way for Portland. We have 7 games tonight in the association. We have a 3 o'clock game today between the Cavaliers and the Pacers. My projection for this game is Pacers by 13.5 at a total of 222. And FanDuel has this number at Indiana by 8, total 219. I have a bigger edge on the Pacers than I do on the total, so I'm going to lay the 8 with Indiana at a juiced minus 114. Next up, 5 o'clock, Chicago, Washington. My projection is Washington 6, total 233, and it's Washington 5.5, total 237. I'm going to take the under. I just going with what I have an edge on here. I think it's going to be a high-scoring game, but 237 I think is a teeny bit too high. 6:30, Philly, Orlando on NBA TV. My projection for this game is Philly 11.5, total 219, and it is Philly 2.5, total 218.5. I'm going to check Twitter right now to see if Joel Embiid is playing, because if he is, then obviously Sixers is a bet. So it says Joel Embiid probable. So I'm laying it. I'm going to lay the 2.5 minus 114 is heavily juiced. Looks like Embiid's going to play. And if Embiid doesn't play, then my line would go down to Philly 7.5, and I still have an edge on Philadelphia. So I'm going to lay the 2.5 for Philadelphia against Orlando. 7 o'clock, you have the Kings and the Rockets. My projection for this game is Sacramento by 4.5, total 236. And it is Houston 5.5, total 230.5. I'm taking Sacramento plus 5.5. I'm taking them straight up at plus 176. I like how they're playing. De'Aaron Fox has looked good. Buddy Hield's played well. And Houston, I know they're getting some pieces back because they're all had COVID, but and I get it, James Harden, but I love Sacramento here, and I think that they will win this game straight up. So give me Sacramento plus 5.5 and plus 176. 7:30, Knicks Raptors. My projection is Raptors 3, total 212, and it's Raptors 9.5, total 215. I love the Knicks getting to 9.5. No, they won't win. I just think that this is a more competitive game than the spread suggests. I don't like what I've seen from Toronto thus far this year. And I think that they're a team that could potentially miss the playoffs, although I could see them in the play-in game rather than the playoffs. So give me the Knicks plus 9.5. Plus 350 straight up's enticing, but I don't think that they're going to win the game. I just think that this is competitive. So give me Knicks plus 9.5. As the Raptors will end their 2-game winning streak. 8 o'clock, Pelicans Thunder. My projection for this game is New Orleans 11.5 total to 11.5, and it is New Orleans 5.5 total to 16. I'm going to lay to 5.5 with New Orleans. Yeah, they've been a little bit of a disappointment thus far this year, but it's early. They've had some tough opponents like Miami and Phoenix. But give me New Orleans minus 5.5, and I think this is a good spot for them to show off a little bit of potential. And 9 o'clock on NBA TV, Phoenix, Utah. Great game. Best game of the night for sure in the association. My projected line is Utah 1.5 total 215, and it is Utah 3.5 total 220.5. I'm going to take the under here. I have a 5.5 point edge on the under. Both of these teams have been playing good defense to start the season. I think Chris Paul's brought an attitude with the Suns, and I think that Gobert, I think, could stop Ayton a little bit in the paint. So give me the under 220.5, and I think Utah will win a very, very fun and competitive basketball game tonight. And then Friday in the association, 7 o'clock, Grizzlies Hornets, Celtics Pistons, Heat Mavericks, 7:30 Hawks Nets, 8 o'clock, Bulls Bucks, Wizards Timberwolves, Lakers Spurs on NBA TV, 9 o'clock, Suns Nuggets, Clippers Jazz, 10:30 NBA TV, Trailblazers Warriors. Saturday, 5 o'clock NBA TV, Kings Rockets, 7 o'clock, Knicks Pacers, Thunder Magic, Hornets 76ers, 7:30 Cavaliers Hawks, and NBA TV Raptors Pelicans. Sunday, 3 o'clock NBA TV, Celtics Pistons, 6 o'clock NBA TV, Wizards Nets, Lakers Grizzlies. That's a good game, by the way. Oh, no, wait, no John Morant. Oh, well. I was excited and I forgot John Morant's hurt. 7 o'clock Nuggets, Timberwolves, Jazz, Spurs. 8 o'clock Mavericks, Bulls, Clippers, Suns. 8:30 NBA TV, Trailblazers, Warriors. That's a good game between Curry and Lillard there. Now we'll move on to college basketball. We'll go over last night's slate and look ahead to today and the weekend. VCU over St. Joe's, 80-64. Manhattan over Delaware State, 65-59. George Washington over Fordham, 71-47. Furman over Chattanooga, 77-73. Bowling Green over Ohio, 83-75. SMU over Temple, 79-71. Hampton over Gardner-Webb, 80-69. Number 2 Baylor over Alcorn State, 105-76. UNC Asheville over Longwood, 80-73. Winthrop over Campbell, 84-83. Colorado State over Fresno State, 81-59. Rhode Island over St. Bonaventure, 63-57. Providence over Butler, 71-55. Radford over Presbyterian, 71-65. Number 23, Virginia over Notre Dame, 66-57. George Mason over UMass, 93-92 in double overtime. High Point over South Carolina Upstate, 63-52. Number 25, Ohio State over Nebraska, 90-54. Wichita State over Newman, 81-43. Seton Hall over Xavier, 85-68. LaSalle over Dayton, 67-65. Dayton lost somebody due to injury yesterday. Richmond over Davidson, 80-74. His best bet continues to be on fire. Mississippi State over Georgia, 83-73. Arkansas over Auburn, 97-85. Belmont over Murray State, 68-55. East Tennessee State over Western Carolina, 86-78. McNeese over Champion Christian, 91-76. Georgia Tech over North Carolina, 72-67. NC State over Boston College, 79-76. Eastern Kentucky over Eastern Illinois, 69-61. Austin Peay over Tennessee State, 68-59. TC over Prairie View, 66-61. Sanford over VMI, 84-71. Indiana over Penn State, 87-85 in overtime. Jacksonville State over Tennessee Martin, 80-70. Number 7, Tennessee over number 12, Missouri, 73-53. UConn over DePaul, 82-61. Seattle over Portland, 84-68. Florida over Vandy, 91-72. Tennessee Tech over Southeast Missouri State, 72-63. And St. Mary's over Sacramento State, 63-45. Today's slate compared to yesterday's is very short. So we'll go over my projected lines and make some picks. First up, we got Gardner-Webb against Hampton. That is a 12 o'clock start today. My projection for this game is Gardner-Webb by 19, and it is 4.5. I'm going to lay the 4.5 with Gardner-Webb over Hampton at a valuable number at minus 102. 1 o'clock, Campbell-Winthrop. My projection for this game is Winthrop 12, and it's Winthrop 14.5. I'm going to take Campbell plus the 14.5 to keep it close at a juice number at minus 115. McMurray Incarnate Word at 2 o'clock. We can skip 3 o'clock. Catawba, Wake Forest. We can skip. Radford Presbyterian. My projection for this game is Radford 12.5, and it's Radford 4.5. I'm going to lay the 4.5 with Radford at a juice number at minus 118. UNC Asheville Longwood. My projection is Asheville 24.5, and it's Asheville 5.5. I'm going to lay the 5.5 with Asheville at minus 104. 4 o'clock, CBS Sports Network, Utah State Air Force. My projection for this game is Utah State 17, and it's Utah State 11.5. I'm going to lay the 11.5 at Utah State at minus 115. Arizona State, Washington State postponed. 4:30 Big Ten Network. Number 21 Minnesota at number 6 Wisconsin. Great game. My projection is Wisconsin 17, and it's 8.5. I'm going to lay 8.5 with Wisconsin at minus 112. Southern Utah, Montana State canceled. 5 o'clock, San Diego, San Francisco. My projection for this game is San Francisco 13, and it is San Francisco by 12.5. Total's 141.5. Tough call here, guys. I am going to go. Oof. I don't feel good about it, but I'm going to take the over, 141.5. I don't feel good about it, though. Just a gut feeling, because I didn't do projections for the totals. Maybe in 2021 I'll do total predictions for college basketball. 7 o'clock, Fox Sports 1, Utah, UCLA. My projection for this game is UCLA by 12, and it is UCLA by 7.5. We're going to lay the 7.5 with UCLA at a nice number at minus 108. Oh, we skipped one. South Carolina, Upstate High Point. It's a 6 o'clock game. My projection for this game is Upstate by 1.5, and it's High Point by 4.5. I'm going to take Upstate plus 4.5 at minus 106, and I'm taking them straight up at plus 180. Stanford, Oregon State postponed. BYU, Pepperdine postponed. 8 o'clock, ESPN, number 16, Michigan at Maryland. My projection for this game is Michigan by 5, and it is Michigan by 1.5. I'm going to lay the 1.5 with the Wolverines at minus 106. Pac-12 Network, Arizona, Washington. My projection's Arizona 15.5, and it's 8.5. I'm going to lay 8.5 with Arizona. I don't feel good about it. Obviously, the news coming down with Arizona that they self-imposed themselves from the postseason this year. So you are unaware of how they'll come out, but Washington stinks. I'm going to lay 8.5 with Arizona. Northern Arizona, Idaho. My projection for this game is Northern Arizona by 6, and it is Northern Arizona by 4.5, and now we're in the 9 o'clock window. I'm going to lay it with Arizona. Actually, no. I'm going to take the under 134.5. I don't feel good about it. I realized at the last second I had a less than 2-point edge, so I'm not going to lay it, even though it's a good number, minus 102. I'm going to take under 134.5 at minus 110. Boise State, San Jose State at 8:30. Actually, I guess Northern Arizona, Idaho's 8 o'clock. My bad. Boise State, San Jose State at 8:30. My projection for this game is Boise 20, and it's Boise 20.5. Total's 150.5. I'm going to take the over at a valuable number at minus 105. So over 150.5 at minus 105. 9 o'clock, Nevada, New Mexico. My projection here is Nevada 5, and it's Nevada 5.5. I have to go to the total 146.5, and I'm going to take that over too at a juice number at minus 112. Cal, Oregon. My projection is Oregon 20, and it's Oregon 13.5. I'm laying the 13.5 at Oregon against Cal, and that's in the 10 o'clock window. And 10 o'clock ESPN, Colorado, USC. My projection for this game is USC 4, and it's USC 1.5. I'm going to lay the 1.5 at USC against Colorado at a juice number at minus 114. Now I'm going to look ahead to the weekend in college basketball. Friday, 1 o'clock, St. Peter's Canisius, Milwaukee, Robert Morris. 2 o'clock, Niagara Marist, McMurray, Incarnate Word. Cleveland State, IUPUI, North Florida, Stetson. Liberty, Lipscomb. That's a nice game in the ASUN. 3 o'clock, UTSA, Rice. 4 o'clock, Green Bay, Youngstown State. Western Kentucky, Charlotte. 5 o'clock, Rider, Fairfield. UT Arlington, Little Rock. Purdue, Fort Wayne, Northern Kentucky. At 6 o'clock, Jacksonville State, Kennesaw State. Georgia State, Coastal Carolina. South Alabama, Georgia Southern. Troy, Appalachian State. 7 o'clock, CBS Sports Network. Central Michigan, Akron. Transylvania, Bellarmine. North Alabama, Florida, Gulf Coast. Wright State, Oakland. Texas State, Louisiana. Arkansas State, UL Monroe. Old Dominion, FIU. Middle Tennessee, FAU. UC Irvine, Cal State, Northridge. Cal State, Bakersfield, Long Beach State. Marshall, Louisiana Tech at 7:30. 8 o'clock, UTEP, Southern Miss. UAB, North Texas. And Cal State, Fullerton, UC Santa Barbara. Saturday, a loaded Saturday. A couple TBDs. NC 18, South Carolina State. And Toledo, Western Michigan. 12 o'clock, ESPN 2. Number 8, Texas. Number 3, Kansas. Great game. I'm going to say Kansas wins that one. 12 o'clock on Fox. Number 11, Creighton, Providence. I'm going to say Creighton wins. 12 o'clock, CBS. Number 12, Missouri, Arkansas. Tough call. That is such a hard call. I'm going to say Missouri, but I don't feel good about it. Fox Sports 1, DePaul, St. John. St. John's should be able to win that game. ESPNU, Memphis, Temple. I'm going to go with Memphis. ACC Network X, Louisville, Boston College. I have to go with Louisville there. Robert Morris hosts Milwaukee. Cleveland State, IUPUI. Elon, Northeastern, not Northwestern. 12:30, NBCSN, Duquesne, George Washington. I'm going to go with Duquesne. 1 o'clock, ESPN Plus. Number 2, Baylor, Iowa State. Got to go with Baylor there. St. Peter's, Canisius, Florida A&M, South Carolina. American, Loyola, Maryland. Chattanooga, VMI. The Citadel, Western Carolina. UNC, Wilmington, Drexel. 2 o'clock, ESPN 2. Number 10, Iowa. Number 14, Rutgers. I'm going to go with Iowa. Luka Garza's best player on the court. East Carolina, Tulane. I'm going to go with... that's a tough one. Go with East Carolina on the road. They've been a little better than I thought this year. Niagara Marist, Fordham, LaSalle. I'm going with LaSalle. Although I won't be shocked if Fordham picks them off because LaSalle's coming off the upset over Dayton. ACC Network, Notre Dame, Pitt. I'm going to go with... that's a hard one. Notre Dame on the road, but I don't feel good about it. Clemson, Miami. I'm going to go with Clemson on the road, but don't feel good about it. Lafayette, Lehigh, Bucknell, Navy. So finally, you're going to see some Patriot League. 2 o'clock, CBS, LSU, Florida. Great game. I'm going to go with Florida at home, but I don't feel good about it. North Florida, Stetson, Binghamton, Hartford. ESPNU, TCU, Kansas State. We go with TCU on the road. Mercer, Furman, William & Mary, Hofstra. Charleston, Delaware. 2:30. Davidson, VCU on NBCSN. I'm going to go with Davidson on the road, but I don't feel good about it. 3 o'clock, ESPN Plus, Tulsa, Cincinnati. I'm going to go with Cincinnati, but I don't feel good about it. Army, Colgate, Jacksonville State, SIU, Edwardsville, Georgia State, Coastal Carolina. Georgia Southern, South Alabama, NJIT, UMass Lowell, New Hampshire, Maine, Old Dominion, FIU, UTSA, Rice, CBS Sports Network, Ohio, Ball State. I'm going to go with Ball State, but I don't feel good about it. Northern Arizona, Idaho. 3:30, SEC Network, Auburn, Texas A&M. I'm going to go with A&M, but I don't feel good about it. 4 o'clock, ESPN 2, number 9, West Virginia, Oklahoma. I'm going to go with the Mountaineers on the road, but I don't feel good about it. Oklahoma State, number 13, Texas Tech. I'm going to go with Texas Tech and Chris Beard. ACC Network, number 24, Virginia Tech, and number 23, Virginia. I got to go with the Cavs at home here. Statement game for them. Northern Iowa, Evansville. Utah, USC on the Pac-12 Network. I'm going to go with the Trojans at home. Green Bay, Youngstown State, Jacksonville, Kennesaw State, Liberty, Lipscomb, Troy, App State, Lamar, Abilene Christian, Middle Tennessee, FAU. 4 o'clock, CBS, a Mountain West game, Colorado State, San Diego State. I'm going to go with San Diego State at home. Western Kentucky, Charlotte, 4:30, Fox Sports 1, Butler, Seton Hall. I'm going to go with Red Hot Seton Hall at home. NBCSN, George Mason, Dayton. I'm going to go with Dayton in the bounce-back spot. North Dakota State, Western Illinois, UMKC, North Dakota, Rider, Fairfield at 5. St. Bonaventure, Richmond on CBS Sports Network. I'm going to go with Richmond again at home. Denver, South Dakota, Wright State, Oakland. Moore State, Murray State, Tennessee Tech, Eastern Illinois, Belmont, UT Martin. Eastern Kentucky, Austin P. Central Arkansas, McNeese State. Texas State, Louisiana. Texas Arlington, Little Rock, Arkansas State, UL Monroe. UTEP, Southern Miss. UAB, North Texas. East Tennessee State, Greensboro. 5:30, New Orleans, Stephen F. Austin. Prairie View Southern. Grambling, Alabama State. Kent State, Eastern Michigan. Alabama at number 7, Tennessee on ESPN2. I'm going to go with Tennessee at home. Big Ten Network, Purdue at number 15, Illinois. Got to go with Illinois. They really need this one. Indiana State, Murray State, Cal, Oregon State at 6 o'clock, Pac-12 Network. I'm going to go with Oregon State at home. Utah State, Air Force. I'm going with Utah State on the road. SEC Network, Kentucky, Mississippi State. Kentucky's due, aren't they? I got to take them. I have no choice. Purdue, Fort Wayne, Northern Kentucky. Tennessee State, Southeast Missouri State. St. Mary's State, Nichols. Wichita State, Ole Miss on ESPNU. That's a secretly good game. I'm going to go with Ole Miss at home and Kermit Davis. Albany, Vermont. Bowling Green, Northern Illinois. Syracuse, UNC postponed. 6:30. Arizona State, Washington. I'm going to go with Zona State on the road. 7 o'clock, ESPN Plus, USF. I'm going to go with UCF on the road. Wyoming, Fresno. I'm going to go with... that's a tough one. I'm going to go with Fresno, but I don't feel good about it. North Alabama, Florida Gulf Coast. Now we're obviously in the 7 o'clock window. Marshall, Louisiana Tech. Mount St. Joseph and Bellarmine. Sanford, Wofford. UC Irvine, Cal State Northridge. Cal State Bakersfield, Long Beach State. Northern Colorado, Montana. 7:30 CBS Sports Network, Marquette, Georgetown. I'm going to go with Marquette on the road. 8 o'clock Big Ten Network. Number 17, Michigan State against Nebraska. I'm going to go with Michigan State in a bounce-back spot. ESPN2, number 20, Duke against number 18, Florida State. Big game. I'm going to go with the Seminoles at home after Duke's little COVID hiatus. Pac-12 Network, Colorado, UCLA. I'm going to go with the Bruins at home. Northwestern State against Houston Baptist. Oral Roberts, Omaha, BYU, San Diego, Mississippi Valley State, Arkansas, Pine Bluff. Cal State, Fullerton, UC Santa Barbara. 8:30 Boise State, San Jose State. I'm going to go with Boise on the road. 9 o'clock Sacagawea, AIC, Dixie State. 10 o'clock ESPN2. San Francisco, number 1, Gonzaga. Got to take Gonzaga. ESPNU, Stanford at number 21, Oregon. I'm going to go with the Ducks at home. CBS Sports Network, Nevada, New Mexico. I'm going to go with, I don't feel good about it, but Nevada on the road. And then 10:30 Pac-12 Network, Arizona, Washington State. This is a good one, Washington State in a prove-it spot, but you know what? I think they might win this one outright. Arizona obviously coming off all their issues and stuff with the postponement, the self-imposed ban. So I'm going to go with Arizona to get picked off here against Washington State. And then Sunday, smaller slate. Valpo, Illinois State postponed. TBD, NC-18, South Carolina State. 12 o'clock, number 6, Wisconsin, Penn State. I'm going to go with Wisconsin. Alon, Northeastern, NJIT, UMass Lowell at 1. New Hampshire, Maine, UNC Wilmington, Drexel. James Madison, Towson postponed. 2 o'clock, Binghamton, Hartford. William & Mary, Hofstra, Charleston, Delaware. 3 o'clock, Monmouth, Siena, Colgate, Army. Indiana State, Missouri State at 4, as well as Northern Iowa, Evansville. CBS Sports Network, Lehigh, Lafayette. I'm going to go with Lafayette at home. Don't feel good about it. Loyola, Maryland, American. Albany, Vermont. 4:30 Howard, Norfolk State. 4:30 NBCSN, St. Joe's, Rhode Island. Got to go with Rhode Island at home. North Dakota State, Western Illinois. UMKC, North Dakota. 5 o'clock, Oral Roberts, Omaha. Denver, South Dakota. 5:30 number 25, Ohio State against number 21, Minnesota. I'm going to go with Ohio State on the road, but I don't feel good about it. ESPNU, Southern Illinois, Drake. I'm going to go with undefeated Drake at home, but I don't feel good about it. Wake, Georgia Tech. I'm going to go with Georgia Tech at home, but I don't feel good about it. CBS Sports Network, Navy, Bucknell. I'm going to go with Bucknell at home. Loyola, Chicago, Bradley, postponed. 7 o'clock, ESPN2. You got number 5, Houston against SMU. I'm going to go with Houston on the road, but I don't feel good about it. And 7:30 of number 19, Northwestern against number 16, Michigan. I'm going to go with Michigan at home, but I don't feel good about it. Now I'm going to go over college football from last night and look ahead to the bowl games and the college football playoff tomorrow as well. So this should be very, very fun. So yesterday, Wisconsin over Wake Forest, 42-28 in the Duke's Mayo Bowl as Wisconsin finishes the year at 4-3. Wake finishes at 4-5. And the Cotton Bowl, An impressive win for number 6 Oklahoma over number 7 Florida, 55-20. We know Florida was missing its top 4 receivers, but it was still an impressive win for Lincoln Riley and company. And it's, by the way, Lincoln Riley's first bowl win, and that's hard to believe. You wouldn't have thought that, because you would think that Lincoln's been there for a while. His 4th season, he finally gets a bowl win. I know he's been in the playoff a couple times and lost to Alabama and Clemson, but yeah, finally gets his first bowl win. I know people are like, oh, well, Arizona or Florida was missing people. But hey, a win's a win. Good for Lincoln Riley. As Oklahoma finishes the year at 9-2, Florida finishes at 8-4. All right, looking ahead to today, we have a couple games. 12 o'clock ESPN, the Lockheed Martin Air Forces Bowl, number 24 Tulsa against Mississippi State. My projection for this game is Mississippi State by 1, total 46.5. Meanwhile, it is Mississippi State by 1.5, total 44.5. So my only play here is the over 44.5, 2-point edge, and it's juiced at -115. 2 o'clock CBS, the Arizona Bowl, Ball State against number 22 San Jose State. My projection here is San Jose State by 3.5, total 54. Meanwhile, San Jose State by 9.5, total 63.5. I'm gonna take. Ooh, this is tough. I have a 6-point edge on Ball State, and I have a 9.5-point edge on the under. I'm going to take the under 63.5. San Jose State's defense has been very good this season. I know Ball State's defense is literally non-existent, and they have a good offense, but I could see this being 33-30, and it barely sneaks, or 24-20, like 30-24, something like that. 30-27, 30-28. So give me under 63.5 for Ball State, San Jose State. And last but not least, 4 o'clock ESPN, the Liberty Bowl, West Virginia Army. My projection for this game is Army 12.5, total of 40. Meanwhile, it's West Virginia by 6.5, total 41.5. I'm taking Army in the points. Army's been very, very good this year. I'm not a fan of this West Virginia team at all. I was down on them before the year. They've picked off some teams this year, and some of them were in Morgantown. They had fans. I think Army wins the game outright too at plus 235. I think that Army's proud and they want to get up for this game. West Virginia will keep it close, of course, but I think that Army's better in this spot. So give me Army plus 6.5 at -104 and plus 235 to win this game straight up. All right, tomorrow you got a couple appetizers before the big games. Georgia and Cincinnati in the Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl. Number 9, Georgia. Number 8, Cincinnati. My projection for this game is Georgia 4, total 51. And Georgia is favored by 6.5, total 50.5. I have no choice but to take Cincinnati plus 6.5 at -104. I think this will be a competitive, high-scoring affair. Plus 225 straight up's enticing, but I don't think they're going to win the game straight up. So give me Cincinnati plus 6.5 against Georgia. And the other appetizer is 1 o'clock on ABC tomorrow. Auburn against number 14 Northwestern in the Citrus Bowl. My projection here is Auburn 3.5, total 43. And it's Auburn or Northwestern 3.5, total 43. I'm taking Auburn plus the 3.5 at -115 and plus 152 to win the game straight up. Yes, Northwestern's had a great year, and the narrative's in their favor of, Auburn's not going to get up for this. I remember a couple years ago, Memphis and Auburn played each other in a bowl game, and everyone and their brother picked Memphis, and I believe Memphis was a dog, and Auburn was favored, but Auburn wound up killing Memphis. I want to say that was 3 years ago, maybe even 4 years ago at this point. Kind of reminds me of that a little bit, although Auburn's a dog. And I think this could be a game where Bo Nix gets everybody excited. And Auburn's going to be a cheek pick next year. So give me Auburn plus 3.5 at -115. I think they'll win straight up at plus 152. And now It's here. The college football playoff. First, you have the Rose Bowl from Dallas, as there are restrictions in California. Can't have fans there, so they moved it to Dallas and Cowboy Stadium so there can be fans. Number 4, Notre Dame. Number 1, Alabama. My projection is Bama 2, total 59. Meanwhile, it's Bama 19.5, total 65.5. I'm going to take Notre Dame in the points. I just think this could be a shootout. No, Notre Dame won't win. I think Bama wins by 17 or something like that. So give me, my projection's very off, I know. I don't think it's going to be a 2-point game, quite frankly. It's because Notre Dame is this good. In Alabama, I just think it's so much better. So give me Notre Dame plus the 19.5. And I think that this will be competitive in the first half. Bama pulls away late. Notre Dame backdoors. I think it's going to be reminiscent to that Oklahoma-Alabama game where Oklahoma backdoored at the end from a couple of years ago. So give me Notre Dame plus the 19.5 at minus 108 for the backdoor cover. I'm going to say Bama wins 45 to 28. That's my prediction. Although my projections say under. But I think it'll go over. And the Sugar Bowl from Louisiana. Number 2, Clemson. Number 3, Ohio State. My projection for this game is Clemson 3.5, total 61.5. Meanwhile, it's Clemson 7.5, total 66.5. This is another tough one. I'm going to be contrarian here and take the under 66.5. I have a bigger edge on the under than I do on Ohio State. I think that Clemson has a shot to blow them out. So, give me under 66.5. And I'm going to say that Ohio State wins this game Clemson wins this game 34 to 23. And that, my friends, is an under. And then Saturday, you have some good games. You have 4 of them. First up, you got the TaxSlayer Gator Bowl, number 23, NC State against Kentucky. My projection here is NC State 7, total 52.5. Meanwhile, it is NC State as a 2.5-point underdog, total 49.5. I'm going to take NC State plus 2.5 and plus 114 straight up. In that one, I just think NC State's better than Kentucky. Kentucky can't score. NC State can. That's what it comes down to for me. Ole Miss, Indiana in the Outback Bowl. Number 11, Indiana against Ole Miss. My projection for this game is Indiana 11, total 64.5. Meanwhile, it is Indiana 9.5, total 65.5. I have no choice but to lay with Indiana. I hate the pick. I could totally see this being a shootout. Last team with the ball wins. But I have a 1-point edge on the under and a 1.5 edge on Indiana. So I have to lay with Indiana at minus 108 in the Outback Bowl. Another New Year's 6 game, the PlayStation Fiesta Bowl. Number 25, Oregon. Number 10, Iowa State. My projection is Iowa State 2, total 57, and it is Iowa State 4.5, total 58.5. I have no choice but to take Oregon plus the 4.5, minus 115. I think this is a great game. I can see this game being a classic that Iowa State will pull out at the end. So give me Oregon plus the 1.5 or plus 4.5 at minus 115. And last but not least, the Capital One Orange Bowl. Number 5, Texas A&M, and number 13, North Carolina. My projection is UNC by 1, total 62.5. Meanwhile, it is A&M 7.5, total 65.5. I'm taking UNC plus 7.5 and plus 220 straight up. Sam Howell, I think, could very well be the best player on the field in this game. He's everybody's darling young prospect quarterback that people are going to be talking about for next year already as the number 1 overall pick in the 2022 NFL Draft. So give me NC State plus a 7.5 at minus 118 and plus 220 to win the game straight up. And the national title game's January 11th, barring any of the bigger bowls, a.k.a. the college football playoff bowls, Rolls and Sugar being postponed due to COVID-19, which I don't think is going to happen. But they have contingency plans in place in case it does. Now I'm going to do my picks for week 17 of the season. It's going to be hectic. It's going to be fun. And without further ado, here we go. First up, you have the Atlanta Falcons at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. My projections, Tampa 16.5, total 50.5. Well, it's Tampa 6.5, total 50.5. I'm laying it with Tampa, minus 6.5. No Julio Jones in all likelihood for the finale here. I know Tampa has everything locked up. And it looks like that Tom Brady will play in week 17. So give me Tampa minus 6.5 against Atlanta. But if this is Blaine Gabbert, then I'm staying away. Next up, you have the Bengals against the Ravens. My projection is Ravens 14, total 46, and it's Ravens 12.5, total 44.5. So I have a 1.5 edge on the Ravens and a 1.5 edge on the over. And I'm going to lay it with the Ravens, even though it's a juice number at minus 114. I have no choice here. Ravens playing for a playoff spot. Cincinnati's on their backup quarterback, obviously, so I'm going to lay the 12.5 with the Ravens against the Bengals. A big one, Cowboys-Giants. The winner of this game is in play for the NFC East, depending on what happens in the Sunday night game. My projections, Giants by a half, total 46.5. If Van Der Esch doesn't go, goes the Giants 1 for me. It's Cowboys 2.5, total 44.5 as of right now. This is tough. I'm going to take the Giants plus 2.5. I hate this pick. I absolutely hate this pick. So, give me the Giants plus 1.5 at minus 115 and plus 112 to win straight up. Next up, Dolphins-Bills. My projection for this game is Bills 4, total 47.5. Meanwhile, it's Bills 1.5, total 44.5. The Dolphins need this game for the playoffs. I have a 2.5 point edge on the Bills, but a 3 point edge on the over. So I'm going to take the over 44.5 at minus 106. I think this is going to be a higher scoring game than people think, and I think there's a chance that Ryan Fitzpatrick starts this game instead of Tua Tagovailoa, which makes the over very likely. Vikings-Lions. My projection for this game is Vikings 6, total 55. No Dalvin Cook, potentially no Matt Stafford either, but if Stafford plays, then this goes to 1.5 Minnesota. But it's Minnesota 7, total 54.5, so it looks like it's going to be Chase Daniel for the Lions. This is tough. I have no choice but to take the Lions. I could see a world where the Vikings just absolutely give up in this game, quite frankly, and not give up in terms of get blown out, but play down to the opponent. They obviously don't have Dalvin Cook, which is a loss for them offensively. He's dealing with the passing of his father, so thoughts and prayers to Dalvin Cook's family. But I'm going to take the Lions plus 7. Maybe they lose by 7. But like I said, absolutely hate the pick. And I'm not taking the over because no Dalvin Cook and no Matt Stafford. Jets-Patriots. My projection is Patriots 4, total 42, and it's Patriots 3, total 39.5. I have no choice but to take the over. The Jets offense has shown a little bit of life these last 2 weeks in their wins. Sam Darnold has made some plays, And their offense even looked good against the Raiders, but the Patriots' defense is still pretty good. I just still think the total's pretty low, and I think that the Patriots will score a little bit on the Jets regardless of who's at quarterback. And it looks like it's going to be Jarrett Stidham. But if it's Cam Newton, then my projection goes up to 8. So I'm going to take the over, and I think that there's a chance that the Patriots have some defense and some special teams touchdowns and stuff. I hate that pick too, actually. Steelers-Browns. No Ben Roethlisberger. My projection is Browns 1, total 47.5, and it's Browns 9.5, total 42. I'm going to take the Steelers plus the 9.5, even though it's Mason Rudolph and not Ben Roethlisberger. It's never easy for the Browns, and there's COVID news with them. 2 more players tested positive, so there's a chance that this game gets moved. So you never know. So, assuming this game gets played, I'm going to take the Steelers plus 9.5 to keep this close. I think the Browns will win, but I just think that's too high, even with Mason Rudolph. Tennessee, Houston. My projection's Titans 12.5, total 53.5. Meanwhile, it's Titans 7.5, total 56.5. I'm going to lay the 7.5 with Tennessee. They're playing for a division title. And playoff seeding, too. It looks like they're going to be in the 4 seed. But if they somehow lose and Indy wins, they don't win the division. But the Texans have just quit. So I'm going to lay the 7.5 with Tennessee against Houston. I think Tennessee is very, very good and very scary. 4 o'clock, Cardinals-Rams. No Jared Goff. No Cooper Kupp. Kyler Murray's going to play. So that is good news for the Cardinals as they look to clinch a playoff spot. My projections, Cardinals 2, total 46. Meanwhile, it's Cardinals 3.5, total 40.5. I have no choice but to take the over. Even though the Rams are playing a backup quarterback, there's a chance Cam Akers doesn't play. Darrell Henderson's not playing. Malcolm Brown, this is a good opportunity for him to get going. I think this is a good opportunity for the Cardinals offense to ride the ship a little bit. Yeah, Aaron Donald's still the man in the middle and will cause havoc for Kyler Murray, but I could see a world where that Cardinal offense starts to look somewhat normal again. I think that total's so low. 23-20 Cardinals, and this is a done. Over. Packers-Bears, great game in Chicago. This is probably the Joe Buck-Troy Aikman game. Green Bay playing for the 1 seed, Chicago playing for the playoffs. My projections, Bears as an 8-point underdog, total 49.5. Meanwhile, it's Packers 5.5, total 50.5. I'm going to lay the 5.5 with the Packers, even though the Bears absolutely need this game for the playoffs. Looks like Aaron Rodgers is going to play. You know the Packers want that 1 seed because of the home field, and they're just better at Lambeau than they are on the road despite no fans. So give me Packers minus 5.5 against the Bears, and I think this game will be competitive. Jacksonville, Indy, my projection is Colts 21.5, total 49. Meanwhile, it's Colts 14, total 49.5. I'm laying it with the Colts. No questions asked. They need this game to clinch a playoff spot, so I'm laying it with Indy. Raiders, Broncos, my projection is Raiders 5, total 62. That's not right. That's absolutely not right. Hang on, guys. 52, not 62. I was just going to say, that's pretty high. So, Raiders 5, total 52. And it's Raiders 2.5, total 50.5. I'm laying it with the Raiders. I have no choice because I have a bigger edge on the Raiders than I do on the Broncos. I know a lot of people are going to bet Denver because the narratives that the Raiders quit and everything. Yes, this is a meaningless game for both teams. I just think that Vegas' offense will bounce back here a little bit against the Denver defense that's been relatively disappointing this season. Drew Lock's been disappointing this year. So is that offense, quite frankly. But if there's any offense for Drew Lock to show potential against, it's if there's any defense to show potential, it's against this one. So give me the Raiders minus 2.5. I think this is like a 3-point Raider win, maybe 4. Chiefs Chargers. My projections: Chiefs 4, total 49.5. Meanwhile, it's Chargers 3.5, total 43.5. It's going to be Chad Henne getting the start instead of Patrick Mahomes. Obviously, Chiefs are sitting everybody. I'm going to take the over 43.5. I'm not going to take the Chiefs plus the points and the Chiefs straight up plus 160. I know it'd be only fitting for the Chargers to lose to Chad Henne, but I like the over better. I think that the Charger offense will finally show some potential at Herbert. I think that the Chief offense will score a little bit here to at least make the over possible. I think that the Chargers could put up like 27, and maybe KC could put up 20. 27-20 Chargers, and that's a winner. 27-19, that's a winner. 27-19, I think, is very realistic. And I don't think the Chargers' defense is all that good. Looks like Joey Bosa might sit. And I don't think I factored that into the line. So give me over 43.5, and I like it even more if Joey Bosa sits, because I think the Chiefs' offense, even with Chad Henne, who isn't a terrible backup quarterback, could score some points too. So over 43.5 in Chargers Chiefs. Saints Panthers. My projection for this game is Saints 12.5, total 49. Meanwhile, it's Saints 6.5, total 47.5. I'm going to lay to 6.5 with the Saints. I think they want that 2 seed, and they are really going for the 1 seed because the Bears are playing for the playoffs. So I think that the Saints will be motivated and play well. So give me Saints minus 6.5 at minus 118. Seahawks 49ers, a relevant game. Seahawks have the division locked up, although Seahawks playing for seeding 2. My projection: Seahawks 16, total 50. Meanwhile, Seahawks 6, total 46.5. I'm going to lay the 6 with the Seahawks. I think that they want to try to move up in the standings. They are sitting there at, if I'm not mistaken, they're 11-4 on the year. And they're still playing for seeding, because if they win and the Saints somehow lose, they'll be the 2 seed. And there's still a road for them to be the 1 seed, it looks like, too. So you know that the Seahawks are going to get up for this. So I'm going to lay the 6 with the Seahawks against the 49ers. And last but not least, Sunday Night Football, the Washington Professional Football Team against the Philadelphia Eagles. My projection is Washington 2, total 43.5. Meanwhile, Washington's favored by 1.5, total is 43.5. I have no choice but to lay it with Washington. I'm happy I'm laying it with Washington. But if Alex Smith doesn't play, my projection goes down to 1, and that'd be absolutely terrible. Wouldn't it be so Eagles of them to say at the last minute, we're going to be starting Carson Wentz instead of Jalen Hurts, and we're going to give this game away and let Washington be the NFC East, so the Cowboy Giant winner can't win the division? That would be very Eagles. That would be very Eagles. They hate the Giants and the Cowboys more than they hate Washington. So I love the the Washington Professional Football Team, minus 1.5 at minus 108 against the Eagles to win the NFC East crown. And hopefully we'll see Alex Smith in the postseason, because that would be a great story after his gruesome injury from a few years ago. So I'm going to lay to 1.5 at Washington. I think it's going to be Alex Smith. But if it's Taylor Heineke, then my projection goes to Washington 1. But I still like Washington. I think Philly will be somewhat competitive as long as it's Jalen Hurts. I think they have a shot to win outright if it's Jalen Hurts. But if it's Carson Wentz, they have no shot. So, but by the way, if it's Carson Wentz, then my projection goes to Washington 3. So I'm going to lay the 1.5 with Washington right now. I hope Alex Smith gets a shot. It would be really, really cool to see him play for a division title. And that would all but lock up comeback player of the year for Alex Smith because he went through a lot this year. And the Fab Five picks for the week. This is probably the toughest week to pick other than week 1 because there's a lot of people sitting and whatnot. So, without further ado, here we go. Miami Buffalo over 44.5. I made the case that it could very well be Ryan Fitzpatrick instead of Tua Tagovailoa, and that would bode well for Miami's offense, which is better with Fitzpatrick than it is with Tua. And we all know about Buffalo's offense and how on fire it's been. And we're getting a good number, too, at minus 106. Titans minus 7.5 against Houston. I don't feel good about this one, but I like the narrative here that they're playing for a division title. And the Texans, I just think, are a team that looks like they quit. Colts minus 14 against the Jaguars. Bet against the Jaguars has been my go-to calling card a lot this season, especially at the end of the year when everybody realized that they're really the worst team in the league and not the Jets. So I'm going to lay the 14 with Indy against Jacksonville. Seahawks minus 6 against San Francisco. The Seahawks are playing for seeding. San Francisco, meanwhile, yeah, they play hard and competitive. C.J. Beathard played a good game and led them to a win last week, but they're like an every other week kind of team. And I think that Pete Carroll and them like playing against the Niners and Richard Sherman and all that. So I'm going to lay the 6 with Seattle against San Francisco. And my last one, I hate to do this because it's at such a juice number, but I'm laying the 6.5 with New Orleans against Carolina. I just think that they want that 1 seed, and maybe they look and see, oh, Chicago's beating Green Bay, and they just go for it. So I'm going to lay the 6.5 with the Saints against Carolina. So again, my Fab Five for the NFL for the weekend: Miami Buffalo over 44.5, Titans minus 7.5 against Houston, Colts minus 14 against Jacksonville, Saints minus 6.5 against Carolina, and Seahawks minus 6 against the 49ers. And now my best bet of the day, brought to you by FanDuel. There are some intriguing options all around in college basketball, college football, and in the NBA. But the one that stood out to me the most was the where is it? Some of these lines moved on me and I'm not happy about it. I don't feel relatively good about this one, but I'm going to do it. I'm going to lay it with Asheville against Longwood. I might come to regret this. I want to take Army against West Virginia, but Army's not that good offensively. And I just think that there could be a shot that West Virginia wins by double digits. But yeah, I feel better about UNC Asheville minus 5.5 at a valuable number at minus 104. So I'm going to lay it with Asheville here against Longwood. So there you have it. The podcast, my last podcast of 2020. I'll be back in the new year, 2021. We'll be rocking. Best bets will still be around. Guests will be back on the show. And it's going to be a fun season 3 of the Madison Miller podcast, which will premiere season 3 on Monday, January 4th. Well, we'll recap everything. College football, NFL, college basketball, NBA. Look ahead to the games that are all being played on Monday night. And then we'll do my NHL defenseman rankings as well. We just didn't have time for that today because it's the last podcast of the week and the last podcast of the year. So we'll do that on the podcast on Monday. And then we'll do centers on Tuesday and wings on Wednesday and the top 100 list on Thursday of next week. So there you have it. I hope you guys have a happy, happy new year, everybody, and a very good weekend.